What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel once again. So we have big breaking UFC news. It has now been reported that Jiri Prochazka has unfortunately vacated the UFC light heavyweight championship, and his upcoming UFC 282 rematch with Glover Teixeira is off the cards because Jiri Prochazka has reportedly suffered a very unfortunate and serious injury, as it seems, and he did not want to hold up the division, so just out of respect for his other contenders, Jiri Prochazka has decided to vacate the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. In case you guys didn't know, Prochazka and Glover Teixeira fought earlier this year, with Prochazka winning the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship with their final round flurry. And so, of course, naturally, after that first fight, there were talks of a potential rematch, and eventually the rematch was booked for UFC 282, which was set for later this year. But now, after all that hype, after the first incredible fight between the two men, it is very unfortunate that Yuri Prohaska has, in fact, not only gotten himself injured, which is, of course, very unfortunate in the first place, but he has also vacated the lightweight championship, which means that we won't be seeing Teixeira versus Prohaska for the lightweight belt anytime soon, as it seems. But so the other big fight in the UFC 282 pay-per-view was set between Jan Blachowicz, who is the former UFC light heavyweight champion, versus a rising star in the light heavyweight division, of course, in the form of Magomed Ankalaev. And as it seems, those two fighters will be now competing in the main event spot. I'm entirely not sure if it's for the interim belt. There are reports suggesting on Twitter claiming that Blachowicz versus Ankalaev will be for the interim championship. I have no idea why it's an interim championship in the first place when you have the champion already who has vacated the undisputed title, the actual title. So you could just have both of them fight for the undisputed belt, but it would sort of be unfair to someone like Glover Teixeira, who, after such a gutsy performance in his first fight with Jiri Prochazka, now has to wait somewhat a little longer to get his rematch to potentially win back the belt. But this just goes on to show how much of a legend, to be honest, Jiri Prochazka actually is, what his mindset actually is. Like, this guy is literally built different. I mean, who has that sort of mentality, who has that sort of strong mindset? Instead of sitting on the sidelines with the belt, he decides to vacate the championship out of respect for everyone in the division. This guy is a goddamn legend. So yeah, with that being said, I can only hope and pray and wish that Jiri Prochazka recovers well. He returns as soon as possible, and then maybe from there onwards we can get him versus Glover Teixeira, or maybe him versus the winner of Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev, which is now the new main event for UFC 282, of course, as per reports. And if you look at it from the UFC's perspective, it's sort of a bit of a disappointing outcome for them. Like, initially they failed to book John Jones versus Stipe Miocic for the UFC 282 card. Of course, there were talks of the two heavyweight fighters returning finally to action. John Jones would be returning after 2+ years if he would have fought at UFC 282. But of course, that fight was never finalized. And now you have Jiri Prochazka, who obviously forced to vacate the championship, and Jiri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira, who has also fallen off the UFC 282 card. So a big loss for the UFC 282 pay-per-view overall, because I was really looking forward to that pay-per-view. Would have been an incredible card overall, but now the main event is no longer happening. Instead, we'll have to stick with Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev, which I think is a very fun fight. But nonetheless, Jiri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira 1 was absolutely insane, and I'm pretty sure the rematch would have been ridiculously good as well. With all that being said, with all that unfortunate news being delivered to you guys, that's it for this quick reaction video. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this entire situation in the comment section, of course. Do you think Jiri Prochazka made the right call by vacating the light heavyweight championship?